I'd like to thank Moderator Mose for inviting me to come and share some of my words of poetry.
Amen.
My name is Sister Nakiesha Brown. I'm a member of Trinity Baptist Church, where my pastor is Dr. Reverend Pastor Tony. And I come from San Francisco, California, where my home church there is Mount Trinity Missionary Baptist Church.
All right. Amen.
So it's not a coincidence that I ended up at another Trinity once I moved here. And so I just want to take 5 minutes of your time to share some words that I wrote at a time when I was going through some things in my life about 10 years ago. And I had more questions than I had answers. And I didn't know about my purpose, my religion, and someone said, give it to God. And I had tried everything else.
Come
so
on,
there's nothing I could do but to give it to God.
Come on now.
And when I wrote this poem, I had writer's block for over 20 years when I was writing secular poetry. And the day I got invited to speak at a women's conference, I wrote the poem, but I didn't have it memorized, so I didn't want to do it. And a wise woman said, don't think of it as a poem, think of it as a testimony. And the next year I came back and had it memorized and had it down pat. But what I learned is when you're working for the Lord, sometimes it's not about the delivery.
Come on,
it's about
baby.
the message. So I would like to share my poem with you in hopes that it touched someone who may be going through some things in their life. Amen. And it's called My Lord, My Testimony, and I. Amen. For I had doubts in my mind, for it seemed the true answers I could never find. Although I tried and I tried, I just couldn't conceptualize why, oh why, he would make that type of sacrifice just to save this tainted soul of mine. And so I cried and I cried for my pain I could no longer hide. Although I did try to keep it bottled inside. But God, he was kind. He said, hold on, girl, these things take time. For I am divine. You may not see it now, but there's always a reason to my rhyme. So then I can deny that I required a little more insight.
Go ahead.
And God, he obliged, for he knew my vision wasn't right. But then he lent me his eyes, and suddenly I began to regain my sight.
Well,
and I got chills in my spine, and I had to get wise, for I was so afraid I was headed towards my demise. But God said, don't worry, everything will be all right.
Come on,
for
girl.
He already had a plan, and it was perfect, it was airtight. And I wanted to believe, which meant I had to continue to fight. And I looked at that devil and said, not tonight.
All
but
right.
I had to remain humble and I had to swallow my pride. And no matter how much I stumbled, God still agreed to let me inside. He said, but first, all his rules I must follow and abide. And there are no other answers but to simply comply. And not until then would my fears truly subside. And I thought, yes, Lord, I finally get it. I took over my life. God said, wait, girl, you're not finished. You're not going to get it on the first try. So then I had to find all the clues he left behind. For he said my path would be clear if I just read between the lines. But you know what, y'all, that devil, he was working.
Go ahead, go,
he thought I
go.
still had doubts. And he continued to pursue me. And he offered other options. And he tried to confuse me. But this time I was prepared. I refused to let him use me. And I was no longer scared. And I said, Lord, I choose thee. All right. So today I had to testify and share with you my struggles, my demons, and my strife. For now I feel so much joy I can't believe. And I finally realized that my Lord is the only reason I'm alive. Right. So I look up to the sky with my hand held high. And I said, Father, appreciate the wisdom you provide. And I will continue to climb to reach the heights you have defined. For I know that I was created in your perfect design. And I will always shine as long as I'm shining in your light.
Yes.
For I finally realized that your love is what's giving me life. And I certify I will worship you with all my might. All right. Because you gave me back my voice. And I will never again drop my mic.
All right. Yeah.